Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Rosie here, and I play Dead by Daylight so you don't have to. Is anybody else in a pretty optimistic mood right now? Is anybody else feeling pretty good? I'm feeling pretty good. 40 fucking perk updates because of MMR. MMR is gonna hopefully drop that huge bomb this summer. Hopefully, bruh. And then we can all look back and go, wow, Rosie was right the whole time. Hopefully. Likely not, though. I can't wait for behavior to screw this up and just watch our optimism go to die. So, I know, but like, I'm still feeling optimistic. So, what do you think they're gonna fucking do to this perk, bro? When this perk is gone, oh my god. Dead Hard is solely responsible for, like, the most bullshit in Dead by Daylight right now. Like, if that perk wasn't there, you would feel so much better about your games. Like, I swear you would. That being said, though, what the hell are they gonna do to it? I've read some things, I've had my own ideas for a long time, etc., etc. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about some of the ideas that I've seen, some of the ones that I've theorized and come up with the whole time, etc., etc. And then again, these can be combined. You can only do one or two, or like some of these aren't even compatible. So like compatibility could exist where you think it could, but we won't get into every instance of compatibility. But let's just go on. So option one is just a pure nerf that they do to the perk. Like the perk's identity is kind of kept as being a lunging perk. It's supposed to be used to dodge the swing, but that ain't really what it's being used for. So, like, if they go in this direction, there is a few things that they could do. The first one that I've heard is increase the amount of exhaustion that the perk gives. I believe this would fail. This is the thing you absolutely do not want to read when they nerf it, because it exhaust like what could they possibly do? Like if this changes like a 10-second boost to the amount of exhaustion it gives, that's garbage and it's not going to do anything. If it's a 40-second perk, it changes the amount of exhaustion the perk gives. Like a 40-second exhaustion change, like if they doubled exhaustion to like 80 seconds, like that would still be bad for like all of the perks. Like it would still be bad. Don't get me wrong. But it would really hurt a sprint burst or a life more or a balance landing more because those perks force commitment. Those perks do not force commitment. Dead Hard does. Dead Hard forces commitment out of the killer in order to actually spring its usage. So like you see what I mean? Like the killer has to commit to make the Dead Hard come out. Whereas if a sprint burst gets triggered and then you have 80 seconds of exhaustion, the killer just leaves and then come back. Like that, you see what I'm saying? Dead Hard, they have to be injured, and so you already have to have that semi-commitment, and then they get their perk, which is just another health state, and then you leave, come back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Dead Hard inherently takes more time investment from the killer to delete. Like, it doesn't affect it as much, and when a survivor's hooked, the exhaustion goes away. So you would still be seeing the same number of Dead Hards in your matches for the most part. Now, that's probably like, for the most part, if you're winning, bouncing around, you're winning every single chase, you're still seeing the same amount of Dead Hards if you do this. Now, obviously, if your 4v1 game is good, you might see a little bit less. And a 4v1 killer hit and runs like the Wraith, they might actually enjoy a boost to the exhaustion. Like, there's things you could do with that, but overall, that's the weakest change they could possibly give it because they still get the perk. Right? Only one Dead Hard can kill you. We know that. If you've played killer for a long enough time, you've had games where you would have won had they not Dead Harded. So it increase to the amount of exhaustion that they get, they still get the Dead Hard. They still won the game because they got the perk, right? So that's what you absolutely don't want to read. It's just a straight increase to the amount of exhaustion. Next, when the survivors use Dead Hard, they can't pull pallets down or vault windows for 5 seconds after usage. Behavior could even really pussy out here and just pull the pallets down, so it could still have synergy with windows for tight kiting, which would still make the perk stupid. But provided you can't pull pallets down or vault windows 5 seconds after usage, this would still fail in terms of transitions because all it would do is change when you press it. Because right now, in order to transition with Dead Hard, they do it right when they're about to vault the window, or slide over the pallet, or pull the pallet down, right? That's when they do it. Instead of that, they, like, let's say they drop a pallet, okay? Then, once they see you kicking the pallet, then they use their Dead Hard, and then they get to the next tile and then vault the window, but you still can't catch them. It doesn't matter when they use the fucking thing. That they use it, they can still get the transition. So in terms of transitions, the perk's still going to be usable, okay? That would still be really good for that. However, it might be interesting when it comes to those tight kites, which would likely make the perk better overall in terms of health. It would make the perk worse because you can't tight kite with it anymore. It would be an exclusive transition perk, which would put it in line with its brothers and sisters in the exhaustion category. Because tight kiting with it wouldn't be very good. Like, I'm trying to think of situations where, like, when you're, because, like, basically, if you do this change, every place is a dead zone, hypothetically, but, like, I don't know, dude, there still might be some tiles that are just so broke that if you Dead Hard, especially if the killer whiffs a swing because of the Dead Hard, they still might be able to, like, rotate it for another 5 seconds to get the pallet drop. So, like, I've heard this change before. I don't want them to do this either. I don't. I think I would consider this a dud, because I think there's still enough utility for the perk to be really stupid, even with this, if they wrote it down exactly as it's written here. Next, cutting Dead Hard's distance in half, as well as delete the iframes on it. This would force an actual read to take place for the Dead Hard to be useful, as well as nerfing Dead Hard for distance. Again, this is probably the best change you get out of it, because, like, if they don't really go anywhere, like, I just, like, at what point do we just say this is flawed design? Like, why would we do this? Like, you admittedly, like, a Plague or a Huntress would appreciate this one, or a Twins might even appreciate it, because I don't think Victor could, if Victor jumps at you, I still think that would get hit, as well as Trapper would appreciate this one as well, because no more iframes means the traps would get them, presumably. So, this is good for Trapper. So, like, again, characters would like this, but, like, come on, where's the creativity? So, I don't really want to see that either. Okay? I think, first of all, ignoring Dead Hard, we have to start thinking about the future now, right? Let's not pretend that the other exhaustion perks aren't OP too. Because when you take out Dead Hard, they put on Sprint Burst / Life. Or Overcome. That's what you likely see. Okay? So, I think we need to give the fucking exhaustion perks as a whole an activation condition. All of them. They can have the same activation condition. I think that'd be fair. But these perks will still be oppressive no matter what you do to them, because of what they do. Their effects are simply too good. All of them. Right now, we have one that sticks out like a sore thumb as being the most OP, because it is the most OP. It absolutely is the most OP of one of the exhaustion perks. That's why the others aren't seeing play. That's why the others aren't seeing much play. Because this one is just so fucking good and so fucking broken and so much better than the rest of them. However, you take this one out, the others are going to show up to take its place faster than you can say Kumbaya. So, if we are looking proactively here, a lot of those perk reworks are the exhaustion perks. All of them, except for Head-On. Head-On's the only one that doesn't really need the activation condition, but I just straight up don't like the perk or the people that use it. So they should be that perk should get the activation condition as well. So what could the activation condition be? Well, there's a few choices. Safe Hook Rescue, 80 seconds on a gen, cleansing a totem. These are the three that I came up with in terms of the most fair activation conditions for these perks. Safe Hook Rescue. That if you do Safe Hook Rescue, that means no matter what they do, there is no Dead Hard at the start of the match. There is no Sprint Burst at the start of the match. There is no Life at the start of the match. Because there's no hooks. You cannot start with Dead Hard or Life or anything because there's no hooks rescues yet. This means that these guys are not oppressive early game, where the killer is the most weak. You do not have to worry about the exhaustion perks. That's a solid buff to the killer early game and a nerf to the survivor early game. You don't know how many times that you fucking get next to them when there's 4 gens left, they Dead Hard when you would have had them, they make the pallet, and then they kite you for another gen. Ridiculous. Get rid of them early game so the killer can get a hook and get started. Cleansing a totem, this would give them reverse synergy with the boons, so that's kind of cute. If you gave them reverse synergy with the boons, where if you want the boon perks, you're not going to see many exhaustion perks. Where if you want the exhaustion perks, you're not going to see many boon perks. Also cute. I would be okay with that. 80 seconds on a gen. I mean, you get perks like Flashbang and Lithe for like being on a gen. Like that's what Flashbang's activation condition is, right? You have to be on a gen for a little bit and then go on a locker. Let's make sure that's right. Let's make sure that's right. After repairing generators, yeah. Okay. So, there you go. Yeah, after repairing gens. So, Flashbang has an activation condition of the gens. If Flashbang is deemed too good that it needs an activation condition from a gen, the exhaustion perks definitely do. Definitely, 100%. So, I'd be okay with that one. I admittedly would not like to see 80 seconds on a gen, because, I mean, it would still slow all the perks down, but I like the cute anti-synergy with the boons, as well as forcing the safe hook rescue to take place first. I think those are better. That being said, if I see 80 seconds on a gen, I'm not going to tear the hair out of my head. At least we're getting something in terms of an activation condition. I think cleansing my favorite one is the safe hook rescue, but the cleansing a totem one is appealing too, because then guess what? There's only 5 exhaustion perks per match maximum. So there you go. There you go on that one. I think that would be cute. It would slow all of them down, and then yeah, they would just be overall a lot less to them. So if you do any of these changes, the number of exhaustion perks in play at once will always likely be smaller than 4. I say always likely because I'm sure in niche situations you could make, probably as the survivors, get 4 in play if the kill is really bad and stuff, etc., etc. But 9.9 times out of 10, you're always, especially if you're good, you will always not have 4 exhaustion perks in play at once. So your a 1 versus 4 killer would definitely like to hear that, especially like characters like Wraith and Samara. If you do the hook rescue one, bad coordination from solo queue groups will result in many survivors going for hook rescues and then resulting in them being off gens. So the solo queue groups would kind of get fucked by that kind of a change like that. But there you go. That is what it is. This is another thing I came up with. When an exhaustion perk becomes active, your aura is shown to the killer for 5 seconds, and your character's portrait becomes slashed so the killer knows you have one. You're like the portrait on the top left will get like a slash through it, so that the killer will know, okay, this person has an exhaustion perk now. And if they vault a window and then the slash doesn't go away, they'll know this person has dead hard, right? The killer gets more information based on what's happening throughout the match with the exhaustion perks. Also cute. The last thing I came up with was a series of dead hard alternatives. We said they were running out of effects to do, but like all you need, people, is a little creativity, and you can come up with some new exhaustion perks that can just replace dead hard. The best thing I think we get here is an activation condition along with a dead hard replacement, not a nerf, a replacement. Dead hard needs to go. That perk needs to be out of the game. The lunge, I think you just straight up scrap it. It's not working mechanically. Dead hard validation sucks. Everybody hates it. Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. It's bad design on multiple levels, so I say get rid of it. So here's some of the alternatives that I came up with. 1. This is based off the character Prospector from Identity V. Touching a gen / being near a gen for like 2 meters is Prospector's distance. During a chase, procs the 3-second speed boost that other exhaustion perks give. So if you're kiting, you could add the injured clause or not, it doesn't matter. If when you are being chased near a generator, you get that 3-second speed boost. Now, this would admittedly, if you're being found, like, be a poor man's sprint burst. But if you're actually already being chased and then you're exhausted, you could go to a gen and then get a speed boost mid-chase without having to like commit to an animation. So that could be, or getting hit. So that could be kind of cute if you did the being near the gen. Prospector has that. It's super underrated. It's super cute in Identity V. When you can get near a cipher and then you get a little boost. Interesting. I think that could be a cute alternative. Next, this is my favorite one. unhooking a survivor procs a 3-second sprint burst for both survivors involved in the interaction. The person unhooked doesn't receive the exhaustion status effect. There you go. There's something cute. There's something cute and something new. Like if the killer's proxy camping, because if the killer's proxy camping, both of you get a sprint burst immediately. So that would be cute. And then if as a bonus, the person that's being unhooked, the guy in more danger, because he's going to be tunneled, according to the meta right now, the person unhooked doesn't get the exhaustion status effect. So if the person that if the person gets unhooked and they have sprint burst, they would get a free sprint burst. Like they would get a 2 times long sprint burst, because this would go off, and then as soon as as soon as this speed boost ends, the sprint burst would proc. Or if they had life, like they could get 2 exhaustion perks and a chase. That would be cute if to counter the tunneling meta. I think that's cute. Next, it's kind of based off the Gen 1 being near a doll totem, not a boon, a doll, but 2 meters during chase procs a 3-second speed boost. It would kind of have it reverse. It would kind of not work well with the activation condition of cleansing one, but that's another idea I had. Here's another one I had. This would kind of fit with David King's character. Any attack that would put you into the healthy state, from the healthy state to the dying state, instead puts you in the injured state. So if you have Dead Hard, Myers tier 3 proc would only put you into the injured state. A Ghostface Mark would only put you into the injured state. A Bubba Chainsaw only puts you into the injured state. Billy Chainsaw only puts you into the injured state. Would have some good rescue applications. Would still be a good perk. It would be a much healthier perk without bullshit. Next, after blinding the killer in any way, a 3-second speed boost procs. So those are my 5 ideas. So like flashlight at a pallet, flashbang, or even that Jill perk, the one that blows a blast mine. You can get a blast mine. If the killer sees you trying to apply a pop, blast mine, boom, sprint burst. There you go. You're done. You're gone. These are 5 healthy alternatives to Dead Hard. The totem one is probably the worst, but there's some cute ones here. The healthy to injured, the healthy to dying attack sponge is very cute in certain matchups and certain perks. Like imagine that again at Snowhead late game, where if every survivor has a Dead Hard active because they haven't used it yet, then Noed procs and Noed does fucking nothing. That'd be cute, bruh. Or, again, the unhooking the survivors, but there are some good effects here. So, like, just nerfing Dead Hard by cutting its lunge in half, that's so uncreative, and I don't want to see it. I would rather see the activation condition combined with a Dead Hard alternative. So the other exhaustion perks, like the Sprint Burst, have to deal with the activation condition, and the Dead Hard has to deal with the activation condition as well. But like the activation condition is slowing them down early game, or the increased cooldown. I don't know, but my point is, like, thinking about the future here. I just think the discussion on this perk is in the wrong frame. I think everyone's talking about like oh, let's cut the lunge in half, let's reduce the iframes. Nah, just get rid of it. The perk sucks. Get rid of it. So those are my ideas for this perk. I'm super excited for the mid-chapter update. That being said, I'm sure Behavior's going to choose the worst fucking option like they always do, because they can have all the MMR good stats they want, but what they can't have is a good design team, which we all know they don't have. So, interesting to see what's going to happen here. With the right data, will we get the right result? That's the question. I'm getting the hell out of here, lads. G fucking G's.